Hello friends, this is Scott, and I'm in my own suburban backyard, and today's topic is Asian pears. Now, a lot of people love Asian pears, but a lot of people don't know what Asian pears really are and how they differ from regular pears. So today I'm going to show you my Asian pear harvest this year, which is very modest, and then I'm going to show you what regular pears are, what they look like and how they're growing. But this is an Asian pear. It's a little bit discolored because of the sun, but that doesn't affect its taste. But it is the shape generally of an apple. So most Asian pears, there's multiple varieties of Asian pears, but they tend to look like an apple. And they like apples, they grow in off one fruiting cluster. So you get this one here, I grabbed and I got 5 Asian pears all in one pole. So that's how they differ a little bit from regular pears that don't grow in those types of clusters. But taking a look here, here's a smaller one. And this is kind of the size that this tree has usually produced over the years because it produces so many fruit. Now, we had a late frost this year, which also affected the harvest, but I pruned this tree drastically just because I didn't want a whole bunch of small little pears. I wanted, good-sized pears that looked more like the size of an apple. So we didn't get a lot of pears this year with my pruning and with the frost, but we got enough here. Now, there's some, looking at some, they do grow in kind of a pear shape also. So you kind of look at them, and some are more elongated than round, but most of them are round. I do not spray my trees for insects, and so you do lose a little bit. And here's some probably wasp or something burrowing in. When you're eating these pears, always make sure you turn the whole pear around because you don't want to bite into that brown stuff. That's not too appetizing. But here's a good look at a nice little basket of Asian pears. And again, there's not a ton of them, and they're still not huge, but they're much better size than they have been over the last few years until I did the pruning and got them back under control. Now here, let's take a look at what an Asian pear looks like up close and what it looks like inside. As I'm going to cut into this pear and show you how it's similar to an apple and how it's also, characteristic of a pear also. So taking a slice, it's got very creamy flesh. It will oxidize quickly, so it'll turn, yellow fairly quickly. But as you look here, it's a little bit more moist than an apple, generally. Taking a close-up of the slice, take a good bite out of this. Love my Asian pears. But you can see that it's got pretty much the texture of an apple. It's dripping a little bit, so it's a little bit more moist, but it's a very mild pear flavor with an apple texture of the flesh. Let's take another slice in here and kind of get closer to the core. And you see it's very similar to an apple. I'll just cut it up here into smaller pieces, and I'll show you the core here in a second, but they're just really good snacks. Now, we like to dehydrate these and eat them and freeze them and eat them during the winter. We're not going to have enough this year, obviously, for that, but here's a close-up of the core, and looks just like an apple. Very similar. And they have their seeds just like apples do in the middle. Now, let's take a look at what a normal pear tree, or normal, whatever normal means, but a regular pear tree. These are Bartlett pears. And as you see, this tree is loaded this year. It's getting close to the end of August, and these fruit, not sure if they're quite ripe yet, but got lots of fruit. But if you notice here, the fruit are not clustered. I mean, there's lots of fruit on the tree, but they're not in individual clusters. They have their own stems. So it's a little bit different than an Asian pear. But this tree has a lot of small fruit. Again, when you have a lot of fruit, a lot of times you get a lot of small fruit. So it's kind of a trade-off of what you want, a lot of fruit or fruit of decent size. But this tree is loaded this year, and I'm not sure how many are on here, but I bet you there's probably 50, 60 pears on here, but we won't know until it's time to harvest. But they're beautiful pears. There's a few blemishes on some, but most of them are looking really, really good. Again, they're just not of a very large size. Now here, let's take a sample and see if these pears are ready. So they're easy to snap off. As you see, it's a small pear. That doesn't mean the taste is small though. So let's take a bite of this pear and let's see what it tastes like. And it's not quite ripe yet. So it's dry. These pears are very moist. That's how they differ from Asian pears. When you take a bite into these when they're ripe, they're just dripping down your chin. So anyway, well, thanks for watching this video, and I hope it was informative. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.